Now here's a true blast from the past. This is one of the things I salvaged from that Ferguson radiogram. Would have been nice to have salvaged the whole thing, but with somebody having smashed the dial light with all the different stations on there, I knew I hadn't really got a hope in hell of making another one of them. So that comes under I'm good, but I'm not that good, I'm afraid. This is a typical old-fashioned bouncy record deck, shall I say. It's a bit like a BSR Monarch thing. It's on suspension screws here, 3-point mounting, made by Collaro in England. It's a Collaro Conquest high fidelity record changer, no less. There's a mono cartridge in there. Well, I assume it's a mono cartridge. It looks that way to me. There only seem to be two leads coming out and an earth. It's a GP9135C, it says on there, and it's got a little flip over stylus for LP and 78 in it. And as you can see there, somebody's made a slight adjustment to the tracking force by putting a bit of blue tack under there. I ask you, yeah. Looks like the adjustment for that should be done here, but I think we'll ignore that one for now. Whether this goes is anybody's guess, because like a BSR, it's rather mechanical inside, and I suspect that it's seized up. Although I did manage to get the turntable off. It's an idler drive, massive bearing in the middle there, complete with what looks like a rubber insert, presumably for a quiet running. As you can see, there's two idler wheels. Now, one of these is to do the turntable, that's this one. It drives on the inside of the turntable. The other is to run the arm return mechanism. And the motor on this thing is incredibly stiff. Very, very difficult to turn. So, probably all it needs is just like you do for an old BSR. Get rid of all the old grease, put some new oil in there, some new grease, and it'll probably go away again for another 50 years. Looking underneath it, the over-engineering continues. A massive shaded pole motor, complete with a little works plate, model AC53, 14 watts, 250 volts, 50 cycles a second. It did say in the instructions for this somewhere that a version was available with a pulley on there for 60 cycle operation. And you can see there the drive from the idler wheel onto here first, and then onto this to operate the tone arm. And as you can also see, it's all very, very dry, isn't it? There's hardly any oil or grease there at all, and what there is has had it. So, that's... Oh dear, and it weighs a ton too, like most things back then. It was built to last millennia, you know. As you can see, turning this idler causes the tone arm to begin to do its thing. So there's obviously not much wrong with the actual transmission, so to speak, the mechanics. There we are. Yeah, that's looking good. Ah, at last. Finally, it's out of gear. Anyway, so that was that one. At least I managed to save this. I've also got the chassis from it, complete with the valves and everything, and the magic eye indicator, which showed when you were tuned into a station properly. So all was not lost. It was a shame about the cabinet being in such a bad state, because although beautiful on top, when you looked down below, somebody had dragged it across the concrete, littered with bits of rubbish, of course, and you can imagine what that had done to the epoxy resin finish. Sacrilege, isn't it? Anyway, bye for now.